Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
We're going to call the meeting to order. And, you lead us with prayer.
I'm glad let us pray. Heavenly Father, thank you again for coming before you as we can this business of your lovely county of Amelia County. Lord, we thank you that we come together and make the city prosper, make things forward in Amelia County. Lord, we love you and thank you so much for the gracious and blessings you give each one of us. In Jesus' name.
Yeah, going by the agenda, it seems as though we have the election of chairman. Chairman, my understanding, Mr. Luther, he resigned, so that's why I decided to meet today. Rather than vice president. So it's, you have to, what actually transpires. Do the chairman, I don't know what the bylaws state. If he resigns, do I take the position or you have to have that the whole term?
According to the bylaws, you can take over as chairperson in his absence or if he resigns until the end of the term. We elected you January to serve as the chairperson. I mean, the second vice chairperson, whatever. So you will be, according to the bylaws, you'll be operating in that capacity.
Until January just 20.
Yes. I don't think we need to even discuss that at this time.
Okay, so then we'll move on to the.
So do you elect a new vice chair? In case she's not around, who runs the meetings? Put in the ballot, it didn't say, but. Probably not a bad idea. Well, let's see, I guess, kind of what the, you know. So when did the new members come on? Yes, July 1st, the term doesn't June 30th. Okay, well, I would suggest that we wait to do any election of new officers until we get the new people. So they can have a say in what they might even end up in the golden ring. So there you go.
Do we need a motion or just, that's just understood? All right. We're going to give you an opportunity to read or either to look over the minutes of the past meeting. And you also have closed session. So we have a forum here. All right, if someone, we have we are entertaining a motion for the approval of minutes. Do we do it collectively? I can't remember, wait, financial report, or do we just?
You do one at a time.
One at a time, okay.
I make a motion that the minutes be approved. As stated.
Second.
I'll second.
Okay, second, okay, it's a legitimate second that, the minutes have been approved as stated. It's all, help me, after
All those in favor?
yeah, all in favor, aye, okay,
Aye.
okay, okay, ayes, okay. You now have a financial report back.
Okay. The bottom line, in the account for the EDA is $658,219.48. That's as of June the 7th. There's the economic development category. Total budget's $149,000. The unencumbered balance is 125,782, which is 88%. It's unencumbered. And that's effective May the 31st, 2021.
Concerns. We entertain a motion for the president's report. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion has been passed. We have, old business, new business, the bylaws amendments. I think it was attached to what we received. Okay.
Consider board of vote.
Right.
Black is the existing and the red from page 5 to 8. Modifications. Mainly to do with remote participations.
Due to marital changes,
That needs to be put in place because as everybody knows, the governor has released a state of emergency. So we don't have that emergency status to be able to meet remotely anymore. This one right here gives everyone the opportunity to participate remotely and to a very limited amount for specific reason. But obviously, the way the law code is, for the government is, they want people to be physically attending meetings, and they're not loosening things up enough that virtual meetings become the norm.
But yeah, the way I read this, excuse me, is the members that are present at the meeting have to approve for somebody to attend virtually. And it does not say anything about when you go into closed session, is the person who is attending virtually disconnected?
I think they're a member, they're attending the meeting, they just couldn't virtual.
Or, when you have closed session, nobody is allowed but those particular ones who are on the committee.
So finally, they would stay on the screen, right, and we would just stop recording and the broadcast. Is that correct?
Because I couldn't find anything that said anything about even mentioning closed sessions.
Well, I don't, so that didn't change. Yeah, you go. My understanding is you're participating, you just participating remotely because you have one of the pre-approved reasons for doing that. And the pre-approved reasons were listed. I think you have to contact the chairman before the meeting, not a last minute thing that can come up.
Not on the panel, like somebody would be on vacation, you'd have to vote and you could call in. And that's kind of like the same thing, what you're talking about. Yeah, that's approval from the committee, they can attend, but. Well, so what do you do? Yeah, that was my concern, that closed session, because, if somebody's attending virtually, you don't know who's in the background or there at the time. So.
Any other concerns? Department? The amendment? The bylaws? We will, entertain a motion to accept the minutes. Regarding the remote participation. After you have to look over, so I see you still turning pages.
I'll make a motion.
Okay. Can we get a second? I think so. You second? Okay. It has been moved and second that, we will accept the amendments to the bylaws as given. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion is carried. As we just had, from what I'm seeing, okay, next up, county administrator.
So that's, excuse me, Chairman, while we're on the subject of bylaws, I have a bylaw I'd like to pose. This is to protect the community from our board of supervisor representatives. Right now, we don't have any say so as far as who is representing the board of supervisors, and I like to propose a motion that a bylaw be adopted stating that the directors of the Economic Development Authority have the right to request and be granted alternate representation of one or both of the board of supervisors from the board of supervisors, if deemed necessary by the IDA. This will give the EDA some means of getting different representation from the board of supervisors. And if it's not working out with the representatives we have. This is a separate entity. We are not serving at the pleasure of the board. They are merely representatives to answer any questions that the EDA has as far as the county, and to just listen in on what our business is. They should not be creating any agendas or have any personal comments. That is all should be left up to this EDA. The EDA is made up of 7 members that's appointed by the board of supervisors, but does not include the representatives of the board of supervisors. So to protect this organization or this committee, unneeded interference, criticism, and personal comments during a meeting, which is very, very disruptive to the flow of the meeting. I think we need to adopt this bylaw that will give us the right to ask for different representation from the board of supervisors. Right now, we have nothing.
Okay, so nothing in the bylaws, that's,
Nothing in the bylaw that even states about it.
I have a question as well to add on to that.
Okay.
Who determines who represents, who comes from the board of supervisors to, say, yeah,
Right now, the board decides amongst themselves.
okay.
From what I understand,
The board voted to appoint us. Sorry.
But still, that would not answer my question.
We volunteered, we were appointed by the board.
Okay. All right, this is what I'm saying. So, okay, there we go. Okay. Okay. So pretty much so. Okay. So, what can we do? I mean, is it something that we have to initiate, or is this a procedure that we have to put in place in order to bring this amendment to include this if we decide to into the bylaws, or we're the ones, or is what we said? Yes.
we have the power to create and amend our own ballots.
Okay.
That is issued
But that's
by the state of Virginia.
okay.
And if we find that needed, then we have the power to do it.
Um, you know, I have not been attending the meetings, but I have been following it virtually. And it really have a good look to me. I'm just personally saying what I feel. And I feel that I thought when, when I was appointed to serve, I was serving the people of Amelia County, not to the point that we are bickering among ourselves. How can we actually serve and do what we have to do for the people to make the county better? Okay. So, you know, it was not a good look to me. I didn't feel good about it. And it seemed as though that we could not get along or even come to some type of consensus among ourselves exactly what, you know, you're saying you should do this. No, you should do that. You should do this, you know, your guidelines. What, you know, it doesn't look good at all. And we're talking about new members coming on. Okay, so I think that we need to kind of get it all together, exactly what direction are we gonna head as the EDA. That's it. Because what, you know, if you know, if we need to put whatever's in place to make us more effective, then that's what I think we need to do.
Well, my feeling is, I'm probably being very vocal today, but something's got to be done. Because we're not accomplishing anything that we need to do because we demoralized, trying to me, it represents trying to tell us how to do our jobs and what we should be doing. And when we try to do something, it's not good enough. Perfect example. I don't know whether y'all read my wife's article in the Lead Monitor and in answer to Mr. Scott's article he published the week before. And in that article, she was stating that the success of the industrial park was because of the past board supervisors, IDA, and the administration all working together to come up with industrial park is at 100% capacity. I hate to call names and name names. Mr. Scott came back with a answer to that and said that the success of the industrial park was not due to the EDA. In spite of the EDA, it was a success. So for somebody to not give any credit to what we're trying to do, what we're working towards, I don't want that player on his team. That's my personal opinion.
You know, it doesn't have a good look. I think far as the county goes. That when it comes to the point that if we are supposed to be working together as a team, we can get a lot more accomplished working. Teamwork, that's what it's about. But when it comes down, when we're divided and everything is not good enough, or that what I've always learned, if you want to criticize, then you should have some good solution to whatever you criticize. So where we at now is just the fact that we have to put guidelines in place in order to be more effective. We cannot continue, you know, and regardless, we are saying if we at 100% capacity now, okay, so someone did something. So you have to give credit where credit is due. You know, so regardless of, you know, and of course, I haven't said much. I have been learning because I got spoken to Mr. Harvey. I said, I have been learning. I've been sitting back. I've been learning. I've been observing. And I'm trying to, you know, you're trying to ascertain exactly what, you know, what is the industrial. We want to be a county to be on the map like the other counties do it. You know, and we have to put but we have to work together to be. I don't understand picking where you saying what I noticed too is that when the agenda is sent out, who come, all these other comes behind saying, no, you should, this should be included on it, that should be, included. That doesn't, to me, it's, you, what is it, micromanaging? What is someone, we both, I mean, so you really don't need us. That's the way I'm looking at it.
Thank you.
So the deal, I'm just voicing my opinion. And, you know, in order for us to move forward, yeah, I'm a new president, I'm a new girl, or whatever the deal is in the position. But this is what I see, and I feel that we need to work together, come together. If you have some qualms, see, you shouldn't bring a person into this. We're here for the betterment of the county. That's it.
And that's my reason for this. I think it's for the betterment of the EDA.
Yes. I'm finished preaching now.
I would just add that, I don't like the optics right now. Because you just said we should leave personal out of it. But there's personal, both of you have introduced personal pieces to this. I don't like that. I think that you put, you know, if we want to put in place something where we can do this, let's leave the names and the people out of it. If we want to make a procedural change where we can request, then it should be about the position, not about the person. If we want it to be, if we're concerned about optics.
Right.
Does that make sense? I mean, I think
I understand what you're
because,
saying.
you know, I'm getting a little fatigued because I've been here, this is my 4th meeting. And, you know, there's a lot of, you know, I don't like the arguing. I'm here to do a job, you know, and I see there's been recommendations made by the Board of Supervisors that I think were good recommendations. I also think that the Board of Supervisors has made, has introduced things that have been adversarial. So I think both sides are to blame. So what I would just say is, if we take the people out of the position, I think that it is a good procedural thing for us to do. I don't think anybody would argue with that. But what I don't want to do is get up out of here having, you know, destroyed more people. We need to unite and come, you know, we need to work together. So that's my piece about it.
And I agree with you 100%. And if I felt bottom deep in my heart that things would change in the future, I could go along with that. But 11 don't change lives. I can't see anything changing. It's been going on for way too long now. And I think if we have this bylaw put in place, it will give us committee a chance or a avenue to deal with problems down the road. And I'm gonna make it in form of a motion that we adopt this bylaw. Read your motion again.
Can I make a comment?
Sure.
I read down through the bylaws. Everybody's got in front of them. If you go to the last page, Article 13. I guess this is what we're talking about in the amendment. It says section 1301, except as provided, as otherwise provided by law. These bylaws may be amended, added to, altered, or repealed in whole or in part by the Board of Directors at any meeting of the Board of Directors, provided that notice of the proposed amendment, addition, alteration, or repeal is given in the notice of such meeting, and such notice is delivered as provided in Article 6, Section 603, at least 1 week in advance. Any director may waive written notice. I guess that's open for interpretation, but I'm wondering if this amendment proposed amendment doesn't need to be voted on at a subsequent meeting, which, and I mean, everybody knows what's going on. You could have a continued meeting, if you wanted to, before July. But I think if you want to follow the rules, it says notice of the proposed amendment, addition, alteration, or repeal. We do have bylaws discussion on the agenda, but I'm wondering if that is specific enough to address this part right here.
I hadn't read that part of it before.
Well, I think, that's, all these different pages got these different articles on it. And article such as this. If you're ready, to get into the rest of them. And, so I think we need to go through the procedure of, he's made a motion, and he's seconded. We need to follow the procedure, and then it gets voted. So then it becomes part of this or a different one. And I would second the motion that we take this amendment and go through the procedure.
Okay, so where we are, okay, from my understanding, okay, it's been moved and seconded that we take the amendment, we will move forward by the procedure that is expressed in Amendment 13. So that's what you said. In other words, it had to be a notice before this meeting. That's what the way it's read, isn't
You
it?
didn't have notice. But you have,
It was something that came up 15 minutes ago, there was nothing.
that's what I'm saying. You give a notice, you get, what is a continuing meeting? How we work out.
Continued meeting is one where you don't adjourn. You say the meeting is going to be continued to a specific point in time. It's your annual meeting, your first meeting, you elect officers and you adopt the meeting schedule. That schedule is for the second Tuesday of each month at 9 or 10 a.m. over at the county administration conference room. So those are the regular. But you can continue a meeting at any time. You can continue for this afternoon, next week, or the week after, or whenever you want to.
My only concern is that if it has to be a week. Is that what it's saying for the Article 13?
Yes.
That's what it says.
So we can continue this meeting until next Tuesday at 10 o'clock and be perfectly under the.
That's the way I would.
At least a week, right? At least 1 week in advance. Okay. So so the most, I don't know, we need to rescind the motion, we're gonna bring another motion.
I think the motion can stay on the floor. Right?
Well, you got to give notice.
The motion really should be to instruct staff to have the attorney draw up a real bylaw. Bylaws aren't written by the members, they're written by the attorney.
That's not what the bylaws are saying.
It's saying you can change them, but I mean, you don't actually provide the words. He's gonna have to look it over.
So you're saying the attorney has to, be the one to,
I mean, you can take a walk, the meeting protected and make sure it's legal and legit. I mean, I don't think board members actually writing bylaws.
She has the authority to establish bylaws and make all rules and regulations.
Yep.
I think
It's still a good idea for a lawyer to check it over.
staff can give it to the attorneys and have them get it back.
so it has been moved and second that we move forward with the amendment. All in favor? All opposed? Motion has been carried. Now we have to determine we,
That meeting, at the end of the meeting. At the end of the meeting, when you're ready to adjourn,
mhm,
that's when you will say, you check everybody's calendars and determine.
all right. We, closed meeting, pursuant to Code of Virginia 2.23711. You can close that.
Well, I can, under the county administrator's report, if you'd like, I can give you, an update on one thing. And then I've got three things that are, supposed to be reading material, so.
Okay, all right.
The public thing is, if anybody's driven about, IDA part recently, there's a lot of, activity going on the Richard Smith piece. And it was inspected at the end of last week to ensure compliance with E&Outs. And it passed without any, no red flags, no negatives, everything really looks good, so they're moving right along. So, Holly, do you have anything to add there? Okay.
The, operation where they had burned in the, mats and that stuff, and they moved it somewhere else, so.
He hadn't moved it yet, but he's, obviously when he gets, real construction going on there, he's gonna try to move that somewhere else.
Yeah.
It wouldn't fit well with what he's
Oh, no.
doing and what we want to do.
Yeah, I thought about that this morning. It was that cloud. New tenants coming in aren't gonna like that.
Yeah,
I moved on over the weekend. Sorry, open in our work.
that's all I had for the public side of it. And if you'd like, we need a motion to enter into, closed session.
I'll make a motion to move into closed section.
That's per 2.2-3711.
Second.
Okay, moving second, that we go into closed session.
for a motion to certify that the only things discussed were those which we did, or was it 2.2-3711? And you call for that, it's a phone call, though.
All right, you're back, so
No technical.
No, just keep it back. Okay. Well, I need to entertain a motion that we
Certified.
to certify. That we have, what we were supposed to, under the code, 2.23711.
Got a motion. Mr. Dittenbach, Mr. Dittenbach made a motion
Okay.
Second.
Second, okay, then move it second.
and called about individual roll call.
Okay. Right, right. I don't know.
I don't vote.
Oh, you don't vote? Okay.
Just those four.
I'm sorry, bro.
I'm sorry.
I certify.
That's everybody.
All right, and it's been certified that we took care of, all business under the code. First, 23711. All right, moving to okay, and, if there.
We have a couple of things, I think, that we're going to be working on, obviously.
Right.
If you want to continue the meeting, now will be the time to survey the members and determine when a good time would be. Mr. Dittenbach, do you think Tuesday is enough time for us to have a report back on what we're going to work on?
Yeah, Thursday would be better. Schedule. Yeah, I could make it work Tuesday.
That's what's good.
What's Thursday look like for everybody?
I won't be able to, if you're looking for me, I'm going on vacation next Friday. I won't be back. till-
Thursday's good for me.
Good for them.
Everybody shows up, that's the forum.
17th?
Yes. Yes.
What time are we talking about?
Ten, 8 to 10.
If it's 10 o'clock, could I suggest you put it back down here again, pending Kent's approval? Because the CPMT meets in the conference room at 9 o'clock on that day, and that will run over in time. So get it back down here again.
Make sure. And what about meeting with Sam? You gonna set something up on that?
We'll work on that.
Also about the amendment.
We'll get that worked on too.
Too, okay, as well.
And anything else that might arise out of that closed session. You know, Mr. Dittenbach and I might have something else.
Okay, all right. So it'll be 10 o'clock, okay, on the 17th. Okay. And if there's nothing else, can I entertain a motion for the adjourn the meeting?
We can continue it.
Continue.
Yeah, you can do that. Continue till the 17th.
Okay, that's adjourn it. I got you now. It's quick.
There you go.
Okay.
All right, so. Continue till the 17th.
Okay, guys. Else?